Welcome back to Honored Madman. We've got a microdose of lore today. So sure, there's a lot of gross looking enemies in all From Software games. Some obviously stand out more than others. There's the hand baby monsters in Dark Souls 3, I mean you name it, from Bloodborne. I've always found those millipede parasites to be really gross in Sekiro. I'm probably not even scratching the surface out of off-putting enemies. But what makes the land octopus so disgusting and gross isn't just its hideous appearance. It's also what it does to reproduce. Now I touched on this a bit in my Elden Ring cuisine video. Check that out if you haven't. It's one of my favorite that I've ever done because as far as I know, it'll never become outdated like some of my older videos have become, rendering it timeless until I do Elden Ring Cuisine 2 for the DLC when they inevitably bring back Sieg Bra and a bunch of new food recipes. Hopefully, I mean, why not? But anyway, the land octopus does not seek out a mate. Although you might see a couple large ones hanging out together, they are not mates. That is not what their reproductive cycle requires. And like many of the creatures in the lands between, they lay eggs, which sometimes you can visually see sitting on the back of the octopus. However, these eggs differ from just about any other kind of egg in that their main ingredient happens to be people.
Human meat!
Alright.
Or rather, human flesh. That's it, that's the twist. The fact that the only way it can create young and offspring is by consuming a human. And it's very specifically only humans too, because if it could feed on other stuff than humans, it would. Humans are probably the hardest prey for it to kill. Well, maybe not in the lands between, but they're still easier targets they could have used if it were possible. But it's not. So for whatever reason, however these things evolved, the big ones eat a human, and then I'm assuming an egg is produced, and then the human's remains fertilize the egg. Because we come across the land octopus ovaries, they're said to be warm to the touch, and that they have a somewhat fleshy feeling to them. I believe it's the description on these ovaries that we get this information from, that the octopuses have to eat humans to reproduce. So yeah, any little land octopus you see just rolling around minding his own business equals one dead human. And, you know, presumably more, because there's never just one little octopus. But here's the thing, these octopuses don't seem to all just be mindless monsters. In fact, we've even seen instances where they're docile, they don't really approach certain humans, they kind of just mind their own on certain beaches. And we also see some of them tamed as pets and used as guardians, or in traps. So in the hidden path to the Halig Tree, there is a garrison of vulgar militia. They were either put there by Malekith or Marika, and presumably their job was to just keep out any who were seeking the Halig Tree. Now the militia, being the cunning band of ruthless mercenaries that they were, figured this would be the perfect place to bring some of their tamed land octopuses. Because any trespassers that came along, they could just feed to the land octopuses and create more land octopuses. And shit, once there were enough of them, they could use these guys as traps or even to do the bulk of the guarding. A pretty ingenious plan coming from such a small being. How very George Martinian. Plus, the horrifying sounds and presumably smell that these creatures gave off was probably more than enough of a deterrent to those who were seeking access to the hidden path to the Halig Tree. Shit, the sounds alone would be enough for me. They sound fucking gross. They sound both writhy and pulsating at the same time, two of my least favorite descriptive words. But yeah, long story short, land octopuses have to eat humans in order to procreate. It's just how they were made for whatever reason.
And that's that.
That's the way she goes.
Indeed it is. Well, that's all I really wanted to talk about on that topic. I wanted to keep this one a little on the shorter side. We've got a long video coming up in a couple days that I hope you guys are going to like a whole lot. But as always, I hope you guys liked this video, or at least found it somewhat informative. If you liked it, please like it. If you disliked it, please dislike it. And if you like hearing me ramble on at varying lengths of time, please consider subscribing. It really helps the channel out. And without further ado, let's have that outro. Alright, so I have a genuine question as my final thoughts today. Those of you who have played Armored Core, what's something that you could compare it to so I would understand how the gameplay is? You know what I mean? What would you guys compare it to? I know there's a good amount of games in that series, so probably some of them play different than the others. That tends to be a thing in most series. But I guess what I'm asking is just like, what's a good comparison for it? So maybe something that I have played that you guys could compare it to, so I get a better understanding of how it's played. And also, is its lore any interesting? Because I know very little about it, but if it's interesting, it might be worth getting into. Just wondering some opinions from you guys. But as always, I will see you next time. You guys have a good one. We'll have another exciting lore entry for you soon. Very soon. But yeah, you guys be safe, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Have a good one.